The Louis Bellina Show, hour number 2 of a Friday edition with Tony Catalina alongside producer Caleb Rapoli. It's been a football heavy-centric show, although we did open up with the LeBron James to Philadelphia 76ers news. But it has been heavy A&M football, and that's honestly how I feel like it should be right now, right? We're right on the cusp of football season. We're right on the cusp of the great sport of football being back in our lives. And I'm ready for it. So for me, I'm excited. Back from Tampa, feeling refreshed. It is an absolute sprint at those things, man. You never stop. It just doesn't stop. Back in town, in studio here at the Zone. It's been good. Obviously, this has been good to get the summer break, but now we're back into it. And with that comes the release of the all preseason teams and the all SEC selections, where everybody thinks the teams will rank out, and we're going to break it down here in the next half hour. So segment 1, I wanted to talk about the all SEC selections, with A&M getting 5 of them. And with that, A&M, I'm going to just pull it up here because I am stupid. 4 Aggies, actually, with 5 selections. First team, all-purpose, Mario Craver. Second team offense, Mario Craver, and center, Mark Naboo Jr. Third team defense, DJ Hicks, and third team specialist, Terry Bussey, as a kickoff specialist. So some likely characters. I don't think it's as many as maybe I probably would have thought. I can divulge, and I'm going to divulge in the next segment, how I picked these teams to go 1 through 16, but kind of wanted to dissect and digest everything that we're seeing here. First team offense, you can kind of guess who QB1 was. It was Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, alongside running backs Kwan Lacey from Ole Miss, Ahmad Hardy from Missouri, which I had told Caleb in the break when we were reading this, nothing against Ahmad Hardy. He might be one of the 2 best running backs in the SEC, if not one of the 2 or 3 best running backs in the country. But he had an unfortunate situation, in how much, if at all, he's going to play this season is very much up in the air. So it was tough for me to sit here and put him 1 and 2, because I think people get lost in this. It's not a popularity contest. It is a projection of what you think this year is going to shake out like. I don't know if Ahmad Hardy is going to miss half the season, most of the season. Whatever he's going to miss, he's going to bear out to be a first-team all-offense of pick for this conference. So that's just my little nitpickiness on that. I understand why people put him there, because the talent is absolutely there. But I don't know if that's how it's going to bear out. So I didn't put that there. I put him in my top 6. Obviously, he was one of the 6 best. I wanted to show respect and have him in that spot, but I didn't have him as my first team selection. Then the wide receivers were Cam Coleman from Texas, Ryan Coleman-Williams from Alabama. Tight end was Trey Green from LSU. Offensive guards and tackles were Trevor Gooseby, Texas, Caden Green, Missouri, Jordan Seaton, LSU, and Ernest Green III from Georgia, with center Drew Bobo from Georgia, and again, all-purpose Mario Craver, Texas A&M. So just looking at the offense, it's a heavy Texas flair. It's a heavy Longhorns flair, and we knew there was going to be a flavor of that, which we've talked about. This is a massive year for Texas. It's a massive year for the Longhorns. If they don't win a national championship, I don't know what the excuse will be, right? That's the way the conversation's been set up. You go to the SEC media days, and Texas is Texas this, Texas this, Texas that. Again, that's not actually how it broke down, too. But Texas got a lot of love. But just in conversations, they felt like, hey, you got Arch Manning, and you got all these weapons, and you got all this talent. You got to find a way to get it done. Second team. Again, Arch Manning at Texas, quarterback. Running back was Jaden Barr from Florida and Nate Frazier from Georgia. Wide receiver was Mario Craver. And then Isaiah Satania III from Oklahoma. Tight end was Lawson Lucky from Georgia, with the offensive guards and tackles being Dontrell Glover from Georgia, Michael Fasusi from Oklahoma, Michael Carroll from Alabama, and Lance Hurd from Kentucky. Mark Naboo won the center at second team. All-purpose was Ryan Niblett from Texas. That rounds out that. And then the third team offense was Gunnar Stockton from Georgia, running back Deshaun Bishop from Tennessee, Hollywood Smothers, Texas. Wide receivers was Ryan Wingo, Texas, Nick Harper from South Carolina. Tight end was Willie Rodriguez from Kentucky, along with offensive guards tackle David Sanders Jr. from Tennessee, Patrick Cattouse, Ole Miss, Brandon Baker, Texas, Wendell Moe Jr., Tennessee, center Braylon Moore, LSU, and all-purpose was Jaden Barr from Florida. So that's the entire offense. Anything stand out to you or surprise you, Caleb, when you look at that? I mean, again, a lot of Texas flair. A&M getting some love, but I feel like this is my take right now. I feel like by the end of it, there'll be more Aggies on the postseason, end of season, all SEC honors than on the preseason. And I think that's probably an indication of maybe I'm a little higher on the team than some people are, and that's fine. That's okay. And I think that will actually bear out true though.
I feel like Isaiah Horton kind of got dissed a little bit.
I'm actually with you on that hugely. I think he's way better than people are giving him credit for, but I digress.
It's also interesting. I don't understand how they did this. So like first team, each offense team has an all-purpose player. So there's only 2 receivers, 1 tight end, but 2 running backs, and then an all-purpose player. I don't understand why they put Mario Craver on first-team offense and second-team offense. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get why they wouldn't just have 3 receivers, because almost everybody has 3 receivers starting anyway.
No, that's fair. I think, to your point, I get what you're saying, and it's a little wonky, but I think they think his ability as a playmaker is first-team worthy, but as a pure wide receiver, he's not one of the 2 best wide receivers in the conference.
And that's fair. And the other 2 all-purpose players, Ryan Niblett is a receiver. He's second-team all-purpose. And then Jaden Ball is a running back.
From Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's not really that big a deal, but like it makes sense that none of the offensive linemen are on here just because they haven't really proven anything.
You haven't figured it out. Just Mark Naboo, which is the one returning center.
Yeah.
You're the one returning starter from last year.
Right. I was honestly almost expecting them to put Arch first team just because the hype. But I'm glad they didn't because I don't think he is. I don't think he deserves to be first team. I feel like the fact that we only had 1 defensive player on all 3 of the teams combined is kind of insane, and it's hard to like pinpoint and who exactly should be on there because I just feel like they're all very, very solid. So maybe none of them are, individually deserving of one of these slots, but I feel like I guess that's kind of the thing about the defense this year is that there's not like a Torian York or a Cassius Howell that's like jumping out at you, but they're all very solid. There's not like a weak link. For sure.
And I think that's what we're fair. I mean, there was a lot of talent A&M had to replace, and we understand that. So I don't think this was going to be all that in A&M's favor, right? I think when you look at it, I think A&M much rather, like I said, be at the end of the season when you say, hey, your body of work gets judged on. But what do you got?
So I don't think they filled this out right. So Terry Bussey is listed as a kickoff specialist.
Yeah.
That's not what a kickoff specialist is.
Right, a kickoff, like somebody,
The first team kickoff specialist is Tate Sandell from Oklahoma, the kicker for kickoffs. Terry Bussey's not a kicker, guys.
Hey, what do we know?
Maybe. I think they must have swapped one of these around.
Yeah. I mean,
because like they have another slot that says return specialist.
Sure. And that's probably what they meant.
I'm trying to figure out who that's listed in the return specialist is a kicker. Because I feel like that's got to be what happened. But
yeah, they just swapped it.
I really hope they fix that because if they don't, that's kind of hilarious.
You know what's funny is too when they give this poll to us, they like it's foolproof. Right? Like they give you a scroll down. It's like here's like your 15 to 20 players to pick from. Like you can't mess it up. It's not like you can just put in like Tony Catalina a kicker. You know what I mean? Like you just can't do that.
Maybe they accidentally had Bussey listed on kickoff specialist.
Maybe. Yeah.
If that's actually what happened, that's pretty embarrassing.
That's hilarious
for the league.
So 979-693. That's so funny. 979-693-1150. Texas Mobile 1 Lube Express inbox. Let us know, what do you think? Did they get it right? Do you think any A&M players got snubbed? Where do you think that they should fall in line? And honestly, these preseason polls, do you even care? Right? Do you look at this and say, just spot the ball and go play some football? Is that what matters most? But real quick, we just went through the offense, but let's kind of take a look at the first team defensive line, and then we'll kind of go down there. Obviously, Colin Simmons from Texas, Will Echols from Ole Miss, Dylan Stewart from South Carolina, which I think has a chance to be like one of the best pure players in college football, period. Prince Will Umanelin from LSU. I know I butchered that. Linebacker Whit Weeks from LSU, Xavier Atkins from Auburn, Rasheem Biles from Texas. Defensive backs, KJ Bolden from Georgia, Xavier Brown from Alabama, Bray Hubbard from Alabama, Ellis Robinson, the fourth, Georgia. Second team defensive line was David Stone, Oklahoma. Elijah Griffin, Georgia. Taylor Wine, Oklahoma. Quincy Rhodes Jr., Arkansas. Linebackers were Raylan Wilson, Georgia. Centarian Perkins, Ole Miss. Kip Lewis, Oklahoma. Defensive backs were Kelly Jones, Mississippi State. DJ Pickett, LSU. Ty Benefield, LSU. Eli Bowen, Oklahoma. And Peyton Bowen, Oklahoma.
Brothers.
On the second team defensive back. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's like life goals, right? You and your brother. That's pretty cool. Third team defensive line: Cam Franklin, Ole Miss; DJ Hicks, Texas A&M; Gabe Harris, Georgia; Jaden Woods, Florida. Backers were Arian Carter, Tennessee; TJ Daugherty, LSU; Yonze Perry, Pierre, Alabama; defensive back Keon Saab, Alabama; Champ Anthony, Auburn; and Khalil Barnes, Georgia. Jelani McDonald, Texas. And then, like you said, specialists: Tate Sandel, Oklahoma; punter Grant Chadwick, LSU; return specialist Ryan Niblett; kickoff specialist Tate Sandel; long snapper Ben Anderson. So, again, not a huge lot of... And you know what's interesting, too? I understand the third team, so they think he's one of the 6 best, but DJ Hicks getting the nod. This is a massive year for him, right? But I didn't think nationally people would put him as high. I know the talent is immense, right? He's a former 5-star kid, but... defensive tackle is a tough spot to shine. And I think largely when you look at DJ Hicks' body of work, they're expecting or want more from him moving forward, right? Because we had guys like Albert Regis here who were talent, were making plays and doing things. So when you look at it, I wonder, that's a sign of respect. I see you giggling over there. Did you read something that was contradictory to the specialists?
I went on to 12thman.com.
Yeah.
And they said, 4 Aggies, get honored with all SEC honors. And then it says, if you go farther down the list, or in their article, it says, Bussey, a junior from Timpson, Texas, secured his status as one of the league's most respected kick returners. Did he? I don't think he did. It kind of seems like he didn't.
That's so funny. But no, it's...
Somebody needs to tell them.
We need clarification, okay? Here on the Zone and College Brian's, College Station and Brian, we need clarity.
We're probably the only ones that are going to notice this too.
Yeah, seriously, we're the only ones that care. We're into it deep. We're in the mix right now. But no, it's funny. Ultimately, we talk about overall beyond the mistake. Do you think they got it right? Beyond the mistake that we know they didn't get right, do you think they got it right?
I think Bussey is one of the best kick returners in the league. His one, that one against Notre Dame that ended up getting called back, like that. I think it was a holding, right? I think it was on Theo.
It was.
That didn't really affect the play very much. That was just very, very explosive play by Terry Bussey, and I know that he hated to have that called back, but it did end up working out for us, obviously. But yeah, I think he's one of the most explosive guys out there in the return game. I would love to see him utilized more on the offensive side of the ball as well. But obviously, we have a very, very deep skill position group this year, so I don't know how much he'll be contributing there.
Sure, and to that point, again, I had said this a couple times, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Is just when you look at it, I think A&M had so much talent they had to replace. 4 offensive linemen, 3 running backs, a first-round pick and wide receiver, 3 or 4 tight ends. On offense alone, then you look at the defensive side of the ball, and you had 3 defensive linemen, you had 2 starting linebackers. The secondary is pretty intact, and that's probably why it's one of the biggest strengths. But when you look at putting together pieces, and you knew that this roster was going to be not a rebuild, but a reload, because they really do believe they have the talent, and I agree with them. You just knew they weren't going to get that type of recognition. I don't remember a year ago how high KC Concepcion was in all of this, but I remember him exceeding or outplaying what a lot of people had preseason expectations for him. Coming into the portal, I think he was like the 7th or 8th wide receiver in the portal. So when you look at, and it's encouraging for somebody like an Isaiah Horton, who we talked about a minute ago, is, Texas got Cam Coleman. He's the number 1 wide receiver, and I think on paper he's the guy that everybody coveted. But what stops from a guy like Isaiah Horton from having a similar impact that KC Concepcion had, right? Like, different body styles, but A&M has found ways to bring guys in from the portal and find ways to get talent. You look at a guy like Tyler Onyetum, came over from Iowa State. really, I mean, he was a good addition. I think people knew he was talented, but relatively unheralded for the most part. Comes in and he gets what, a second or third round pick from Denver Broncos. Like, that's what that transfer portal stuff is all about. Finding the talent, unearthing some people. Cassius Howell from Bowling Green, right? Like, Bowling Green comes over. Will Lee from Kansas State. Like, it just, they found ways that maybe don't have the most heralded guys, and they find a way to make it work. So for me, when I look at this, I think it's a part of putting the plan together. It's a part of the evaluation. When you look at the season, you look at everything is, you kind of look at it in a vacuum. But ultimately, it's just a drop in the bucket. And when they start to play football games, you probably won't even think about it. I think, in my opinion, the least consequential all SEC rankings or any of that stuff is right now. Right?
Yeah.
Go play football. We'll figure it out from there. But more importantly, I want to know what you guys think. If there's any text, if you guys got anything you want to say, 979-693-1150, Texas Mobile 1 Lube Express inbox. Also with that, like I said, it's the second hour. We'll let you know. The ticket booth is open. So thanks to Dixie Tire Company, caller number 5 at the end, and we'll tell you when to do it. We'll win a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. But this is about you guys. We want you guys to let us know what you think. When we get back, we're going to dive into 1 through 16 all SEC. I feel like my picks are a little different than how it broke down. You guys can tell me how wrong or right I am next on The Zone.
Do you need help with your air conditioning? Like, it can be fast repairs. Maybe it's routine maintenance. Maybe you just need a brand new system. Well, Still Creek Mechanical, they're the help you need. You can go get that more information, stillcreekmechanical.com. You can go schedule an AC consultation at stillcreekmechanical.com. And you can get $100 off of all repairs just by saying The Zone, the Louis Bellina Show. Louis Bellina, that's right. Mention any, and you get $100 off of repairs. You can call. It's not just all websites. You can call 979-595-4253. Still Creek Mechanical's Aggie-owned, operated. Still Creek Mechanical, been serving the Brazos Valley for over 20 years. Still Creek Mechanical, they have the services. They can do all the services, all makes, all models, and they treat your home like it's their home. Go to the website, stillcreekmechanical.com.
Listen to The Zone at radioaguilant.com. Thanks to Loyalty Plumbing. The pros at Loyalty Plumbing are ready to serve you 24/7. Give them a call at 979-977-6117.
Louis Bellina Show, Friday edition. Tony Catalina alongside producer Caleb Rapoli. Segment 2 of the second hour. Deep dive into more of the SEC superlatives that came out. We just talked about all the SEC teams, and I'm getting 4 people. Mario Craver getting 2 selections. All in all, we had just put a pin in that, and we're going to talk more about the all SEC selections, but this time coming out of the preseason polls, 1 through 16, how it shakes out, Texas A&M, where they found a way to be. And when I look at this and I kind of pick through who I had and who they picked to win, it is not that different, but also in some ways not that similar as well. Looking at it, I'll give you theirs, and then we can kind of look at mine. You can tell me how dumb I am. Totally fine with that. But when I look at the predicted order of finish, this is the official preseason pre-order prediction here. Number 1 was Georgia getting 2,519 votes. Texas 2 at 2,449 votes. Ole Miss at 2,004. A&M coming in at 4th at 1,967. LSU 5, Alabama 6, Oklahoma 7, Tennessee 8, Florida 9, Missouri 10, South Carolina 11, Auburn 12, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas rounded out. That is the preseason top 16, how they expect it to go preseason. That is voted on by the media, myself alike. Got that vote, submitted my vote. Right off the bat, I can tell you I got Georgia and Texas 1 and 2. That's how I voted it. Where it differed was they had Ole Miss at 3. I actually had Texas A&M at 3. I've long said I'm a little higher on this team than I think a lot of people are, but I had A&M at 3. From there, I had LSU at 4. They had LSU at 5. I had Oklahoma at 5. Ole Miss at 6. Alabama at 7. Missouri at 8. Vanderbilt at 9. South Carolina at 10. Florida Auburn, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and then Arkansas at 16. So a little bit of difference. I already got a little bit of pushback because I had put LSU over Oklahoma and Ole Miss. I don't know if LSU is a national title contender in year one, but I think LSU has enough talent, homegrown and brought in talent, to be one of the 4 best teams in the conference. I think Oklahoma at 5 there's some parallels between A&M and Oklahoma, and I've said this pretty much all offseason. I think they're really comparable in a lot of different ways, but I don't know. Like when I look at the bucket, I think Oklahoma is similar to A&M, and if you're talking about head-to-head advantage, Oklahoma probably has a slight advantage because A&M has to go to Norman to play, so chalk that up as, for the Sooners, but I just think A&M is a little better. And also what I was a little surprised by was I guess for me, I look at it as disrespect a little bit with Missouri at 10. I thought Missouri is a little better. I think Eli Drinker's a little better. I mean, I think they have talent. I understand Ahmad Hardy. I said it, a couple segments ago that he's not going to be healthy, but I think they have talent. I'm a little higher on them as well. And Alabama, where's Alabama at 6? So they're just a little higher on Alabama than I am. Caleb, when you look at this, what do you think about the official one? And just exactly, does it kind of feel how you think it was going to? Where's your biggest gripes when you look at this?
The biggest surprise for me is definitely Ole Miss being as high as they are at number 3. I haven't made a ranking. I just have a general feel of where I think everybody's going to finish. So I like Georgia, Texas. I think that's 1-2. I think everybody kind of is consensus on that. For A&M, I think number 4 is about right. I think that's the group that they're going to be in. I don't think we're going to make the conference title game. I just think with the schedule that we have this year, it's going to be very difficult to do that, having to go on the road to both Bama and Oklahoma. Sure. I really think and another reason why I haven't tried to predict an order of finish other than I picked Georgia to win the conference is because I really think this year is going to be, with the first year of the 9-game conference schedule, I think the standings are going to be absolute chaos. Sure. And I think of the SEC teams, Georgia has the easiest schedule, which makes sense because they don't have to play themselves. Yeah. So I think Georgia probably will go 11-1 or undefeated, and they'll be number 1. And then everybody else, I think everybody else will have at least 2 conference losses, honestly. Okay. Texas has to play all of the best teams. Do they play Georgia this year? I don't know if they play Georgia this year, but I don't think that they're going to be able to beat us 3 years in a row. But I think that my predictions have us in kind of a weird spot because I think we'll beat Texas, but I think we're going to lose at least 2 games that aren't Texas. Okay. So I have us 4th, 5th. And then I was looking at Bill Connolly's SP Plus projections, and they have Ole Miss all the way down at 7. Oh, wow. So pretty big difference there. And then what you were saying about Missouri, I think it is a little disrespectful to have them behind Florida. Nothing against Alex Golish. I think he's a great coach, but he's in his first year at an SEC program. Drink has been there. This is year 7 for him, I think. So I think it's pretty disrespectful to put them behind the Gators there. But I don't really know if I would move them up much higher than 9, honestly, just because the top 8 teams, I think, all have a lot of talent. Tennessee is one that is going to be very dependent on the quarterback situation and how they perform, whether it's Faison Brandon or George McIntyre. And then I'm a lot higher in Oklahoma, just in general, than this ranking is. And where did you have Oklahoma?
I had Oklahoma at 5.
At 5. Okay, that's a little closer to where I have them. I think, especially if John Mateer is back to early season form from last year, before the hand injury, I think Oklahoma has a chance to win this conference. They're 3rd in returning production in the SEC. I think they really have. I think it's lining up pretty good for them this year.
Yeah, and so obviously everybody, let me know what you think. Let Caleb and I know what you think. 979-693-1150, Texas Mobile 1 Lube Express inbox. They got A&M at 4th. They predicted the 4th. They got 1,967 points. Do you think that's correct? Do you think that's accurate? I had them at 3. Caleb has them right around there hovering, so I think we're kind of in the ballpark. I think people have a pretty good idea, at least where they think A&M will be. I'm not really that, and that for me, I don't think it's that too bad. I think it's pretty close. But I think the biggest variable for me when I look at this is I'm way down on Tennessee comparatively.
I saw that.
I have Tennessee finishing 13th. Comparatively, the rest of my counterparts believe that Tennessee will finish 8th, middle of the pack. I have them in the lower third, essentially. Without a quarterback, I think Josh Heupel's seat's pretty hot if it isn't sizzling. I'm not completely bought on Tennessee. Am I wrong for that?
No, I understand where you're coming from on that. But we don't really know what their quarterback situation is. It's not that they're without a good quarterback. It's just that we're not sure because neither of these guys have shown anything because they haven't had the opportunity to. So it could be that whichever one earns the starting job is a top 3 quarterback in the SEC.
Maybe.
We don't know.
It's volatile, and so it's tough to predict.
Volunteeritile.
Yeah, good one. But I would say I go by the old adage: if you got 2, you don't have 1.
That's fair.
So yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that figures out.
It's like every other Big 12 team.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I look at it, man, for me, I understand. I'm probably not as high. I guess LSU at 5. I'm interested in the perspective. So I think people are putting a lot on Trinidad Chambliss and Lacey to be like, go ahead, Ole Miss, go and repeat what it was last year, right? And that's probably fair, but that's what these preseason polls are for. Where man, they got a lot of hype. And I guess I look at it, they got a first-year head coach too, essentially. I know he came in and he had some live reps, but Pete Golden's a first-time head coach, and I was singing his praises earlier, but
we beat Georgia.
We've seen first-year head coaches here have a lot of talent and not get the most out of the situation, whether it be whatever it be. So with that being said, if you were to tell me that Ole Miss was going to be a top 3. If you're going to tell me Ole Miss was back in the playoffs, I believe you. If they told me they missed it and it wasn't what they thought it would be, I wouldn't be shocked either.
It's really difficult to predict who's going to make the playoffs from the SEC because I really think that any of the top if you swap Missouri and Florida, the top 9 teams, I think any of them could make the playoff, and it wouldn't surprise me that much. I guess Tennessee would be a little surprising, but that would just literally for Tennessee, it's just if they make the playoff, the quarterback figured it out. Yeah. That's it. That's the one thing.
Sure.
If they have a good quarterback, I think that they will be right up there in those conversations. I am a little lower on LSU than I think everybody else is. Mostly just because I'm a Lane Kiffin hater, but and I plan to go to the Aggie game when they go to Baton Rouge, so I really want to see a win.
I'll see you there.
But I just don't think that they're going to be able to adjust this many things on the fly because Sam Leavitt coming over from Arizona State, Lane coming over from LSU, and bringing a lot of people with them. So there will be some continuity as far as coaching staff staying together.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they're going to be able to get all this rocking and rolling in year one immediately, especially in the first year of the 9-game SEC conference schedule.
Well, I'll tell you what, if LSU isn't what I think, and maybe a lot of people think they're going to be, then that's an advantage A&M.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
If LSU isn't who they think they are, A&M finds a way to walk into Death Valley and get a 3rd straight win against them.
And I'm very glad that we have that game early in the season.
Right.
That's a big advantage.
Huge advantage. And we can delve on that later on, but South Carolina, not a night game is a huge advantage for A&M. There's some situations advantageously for their schedule there. But when I look at this, there's a lot to digest it. Let me know. Again, send some texts to this 979-693-1150 Texas Mobile 1 Lube Express inbox. But that's how I have it. A little variance, not too crazy. I think it's because I think some of this is chalk, but I think some of it makes sense. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Steve Sarkisian and his troll job comments. We're going to talk about exactly what we're talking about. And when we get back here on The Zone.
The Money Machine. The Money Machine. The Money Machine. Back to school. Your next chance to win $5,000 begins July 27th.
That's unbelievable.
At Zone1150.com.
I got this on this.
Louis Bellina's Show. Friday edition with Tony Catalina and producer Caleb Rapoli. That was Lil Wayne, No Sailings. I got to throw it in there. But I digress. Moving on to big, more important topics. Like I said, I've said to you that now 3 weeks now. I'm picking the music, so if you don't like it, pin it on me. I'll take that. But moving forward, there was
You don't want to blame me for everything like
Nah.
Willie does?
No, I'll tell you right now, and I'll be completely honest. I've said this before. I always shout you out because we could not do this without you. I'm telling you, I could not do. Like this is different. It's difficult without a solid, good producer. Honestly,
It's a lot more fun when there's two people. I agree.
yeah. It's. I mean, you sitting here. You're behind the keyboard. You're doing a lot of the stuff. I just got to talk and not sound stupid, which, I'm only doing half of that correctly. But with that being said, we're getting close to the ticket booth being open here for the Dixie Tire Company. Caller number 5. When we let you know, wins a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. That'll be towards the end before we wrap up. And again, Texas Mobile 1 Loop Express inbox at 979-693-1150. Keep them coming. We have got some comments, but we're going to dive into a different thing here. On the last day, Texas was one of the marquees, and the reason why they had Texas there was to keep media there. That's my probably not so duh moment question. They had Texas at the end, so people would stick around the whole week.
That does make a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
So they had Texas there, make sure people stick around. But Steve Sarkisian actually answered some questions. And if I remember correctly, the clip we're about to play here is from Tyler Shaw from KBTX. So this is a local guy asking a question, and I think it was probably one of the more interesting answers. They teed him up about last year's loss and how they threw up a graphic of Mike Elko saying A&M was a flagship program of Texas, and Sarkisian, they kind of trolled A&M in a little bit. And I think when asked about it, Sark took a stern stance on this, and I'm curious, exactly Caleb's thoughts, but we'll play this first.
Last year, there was a video that played on the video board. It was kind of a quote of Mike Elko saying this is the flagship program in the state, kind of a troll job way. What were your thoughts?
I was not happy about it.
Rivalry moment.
I was not happy about it.
What have you seen from this rivalry so far? These
It's a hell of a rivalry. I'm fortunate to be part of it. I'm humbled. I'm honored. The great players, the great teams, the great coaches who have been part of this game, I respect it. And I respect the competition. In the last 2 years, those have been great games that have mattered. 2 years ago, the winner of that game goes to the SEC championship. Last year, we were fighting for what we felt like was our playoff lives. They were an undefeated team. So there were some great moments, but emotions run high in those games. We had a team that was trying to think about going to plant the flag 2 years ago, and I wouldn't let that happen. I respect the game of football, and I respect college football, and I respect the football gods, and there's a way to go about our business, and then there's a way not. And so rivalries are great, but we got to be able to fight the emotions that come with the rivalry. And I think that's why we've had success in some of our rivalry games, whether it's A&M or OU or Arkansas. So I think we do a good job of managing our emotions. And so, but that's a real challenge when you get into games like that.
Caleb, you think he liked it?
Oh, definitely. He can't say that, but he definitely liked it. Unless you're an absolute stick in the mud, you liked that.
Yeah.
If you're a Texas fan, that is.
It's funny. He was so hard and fast about his dislike of it publicly that it's like it was too quick trigger for me to be like, this is, you knew you were going to ask, and if you were asked, you were ready to say you disliked it. But honestly, to me, and I'm curious, Caleb, because you're somebody that's deeply woven into this maroon and white way more than I am. I'm just, I'm a visitor, so I didn't really think too much of it because I was there and I'm unfolding, I'm working obviously, and my emotions aren't tied to it as much as people in the stands are and just how it shakes out. But if you don't want someone to troll, guess what you got to do? You got to win. You got to win. And so do you think when A&M, or if A&M, it's in Kyle Field, if A&M finds a way to beat Texas this year, in this season, this is the season that Texas is supposed to have national championship for real aspirations.
Yep.
Like, they're supposed to win this year. If A&M wins, do you think any of these Aggies are going to take it easy?
No, absolutely not.
And they shouldn't.
Nor should they.
They should not.
Yeah. So I'll admit something. I was obviously not at that game, but then I didn't even know this was a thing that happened because I stayed off social media that night because I was not trying to see Texas fans gloating.
Sure.
Because I knew they were going to, and they have every right to because they've won 2 years in a row now. So they get to do that. That's the price that we pay for not winning those games. Anytime in a rivalry like this, there's a moment like that, the fans and the player, well, not necessarily the players, but the fans gloating and hanging it over the opposing fans' heads and doing things like this with the video board, that's what makes rivalries interesting and fun, especially for people from an outside perspective that are just, not necessarily involved with either side, but just enjoying the spectacle.
I agree. I mean, to me, I have absolutely no connection to the state of Michigan or Ohio, right? But I love when Ohio State and Michigan play together because it's real hate. There's legitimate bad blood there. Like, I remember the year that they were like fighting in the tunnel, and it was like a huge thing, and then it spilled out to the field. And again, I'm sitting there fired up. So when I see Texas A&M, like, I know that this rivalry is just as good, if not better. I know there was a lull, and I know there was about a 12-year gap there. But the people that are the old guard, like the old army, know what this is about. And for the people that don't know that's in the new army, they're figuring this thing out real quick.
So I think the 12-year gap honestly made it more bitter.
Like a marinade?
Yeah. Well, so because everybody on either side blames the other side for why we didn't play during that 12-year gap.
Sure.
And there are documented, sources saying that I can't remember who was first, but right after Texas or A&M came to the SEC and left Texas in the Big 12, I don't remember which team it was that reached out first, but there was one team's athletic department reached out to the other and was like, "Hey, we should play the Lone Star Showdown as a non-conference game."
Yeah.
And the other ones were like, "No, no way." And then a few years later, it was the opposite team asking. And then, and I don't remember who was who. So otherwise I would say, but I can't remember who was first. But basically, one team wanted to play it, the other team didn't. And then it flipped a few years later, and the other team was like, "No, we're not playing now." So both sides are extremely petty. But I think that whole just people arguing about why we didn't play the game for 12 years, I think that honestly added on to the rivalry now that it's been renewed. And I think for the players might not be quite as involved as they would be if we'd have kept playing them. But, that'll come with time.
Let me be honest here for a second. I've actually never said this publicly. So I was excited to go to Austin last year, right? Like, it's a rivalry game. I was excited to go to the game because the build-up and, it was a big deal. And obviously with the way A&M was playing, I know people – like, I'm very clear and I'm very steadfast that I don't root for teams, like in college. Like, I come with an unbiased perspective. But there is no denying the fact that it is fun to cover a team that's winning.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's fun. Like, it allows more opportunities. You get to go to different things. Like I wanted to go to the Cotton Bowl last year. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to go.
Sure.
So, with that being said, I went to Austin and I hear all these things, right? Like, Austin's like, this is the white collar, this is like the money, this is where the people go, and like this is a different breed. Like College Station's blue collar and things are tougher, and it's just like a different just a different vision, right? This is what I had painted in my mind as an outsider. I walk in that stadium and completely unimpressed. Completely 100% unimpressed by the stadium, right? And then I walk into the press box, and to their credit, it was the last game they ever used that press box, ever.
Okay.
They tore it down. It's going to be suites, and they're building up and putting a lot of money in it. But I hate to say this, it was gross. Like, I'm trying to paint a picture here. So for people that don't know what Kyle Field's press box looks like, it is very big. It is vast. And there's a lot of seats, and it's a lot of comfort, and you have a good situation to sit and work and do your job, and it's enclosed, and it's great. Texas's, we were sitting in a booth, and I'm being polite. I'm chubby, right? Like, I'm in a tight space. And then there's a barstool seat behind me where a scout is sitting. So he's literally almost sitting on my shoulders. And I'm not kidding. Like, if I went to go, like, roll my shoulders, his knees would have hit my back. So the situation was bad. The stadium wasn't great. And then I get in the bathroom. Sean Hockley is in there. I mean, not Sean Hockley. Sean McDonough is in there.
Okay, yeah.
And
the ESPN...
there's raw sewage coming out of the pipes on the floor.
No way.
So I went in there and I was like, if I was an A&M fan and if I cared about this rivalry, I'd have so much ammo. But like, to me, it just
send it all to me.
I gotta send that to some burner account or something. No, it was just I was completely unimpressed. But I digress with all of that. I say it all to say it's fun to be in a fan base. It's fun to be in this rivalry where like troll jobs happen. I think it was fair.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Mike Elko saying that they're the pinnacle or whatever he said. What was the exact quote that Mike Elko said? That
Flagship university.
I don't think he's wrong for saying that. You can say that stuff if you want. And then, conversely, if Texas wants to poke fun and say, no, we are, that's in their right.
Especially if they won.
Winner, yeah.
The winners get to gloat. That's how it works.
What is the quote? It said, history is written by the victors.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
You don't want them to do it, then don't do it. And like I said, we said it a couple minutes ago, if A&M wins, I guarantee there ain't going to be a single Aggie that's going to be like, you know what, let's take it easy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what happened when we swept them in baseball, but nobody took it
confirm,
easy.
I was there. And that was only 2, right?
Right.
Imagine if
it was baseball. It wasn't even football.
Right. And so...
I think we were kind of desperate to have something to hang over their heads. If
still
I'm being honest.
to this day, and you probably feel the same way. Like that 2024 game, walking into that, the energy I've never felt. I've been in at this point. I've been in hundreds of sporting events. Like I've never felt energy, electricity like I felt in that Kyle Field Stadium in 2024.
Honestly, and that was my freshman year of college, so I did not have good seats, but. So I was honestly kind of disappointed with it.
Really?
I'm going to be like, the blackout game against LSU that year
that was sick.
That's the best environment I think I've ever experienced at Kyle Field.
That was fun.
I was a little disappointed in the Texas game, to be honest with you.
You think it was like nervous energy?
So there was some of that, and I think that probably was a big part of it, but I also think that so there was a lot going on with student tickets at that time. That was the last game of physical ticket pool.
You line up.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure there were a lot of students that ended up selling their tickets to Texas fans.
Stupid.
And I think that might have had an impact on it.
Yeah.
That's my theory. It's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but
man, that's like a Red Sox fan selling it to a Yankee fan. Come on.
So I was in, and obviously the student section, was kind of expanded for that game.
Yeah.
But, so I was sitting on the north end zone under the scoreboard, kind of. Third deck and student section. So right behind me and like one seat over was a dude in a Texas shirt. And I was like, how did you get here? Yeah. Who gave you that ticket? I want to know.
How'd you get here is a funny thing to say.
You should not have that ticket. Like, I have no respect for the people that bring, even if it's, I don't care if it's your brother or your sister or your cousin.
Yeah.
For a rivalry game, you should not be bringing opposing fans into the student section.
Not the first one. I mean, seriously.
I think it's, in my opinion,
universally,
just the one game a year. This is like, if it's LSU, all right, fine, whatever. Yeah. I don't care about LSU as much as I care about Texas. Still a rivalry, but not as heated. For that game, that one game a year, that's the only game where I have that stance. If you are a student, do not bring an opposing fan into the student section. That's like you immediately lose all respect for me in this, just sports.
Sure.
Let me be clear.
Absolutely.
Just my sports respect, not as a person. But it drives me crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna let that sit on that. That's Caleb's PSA of fandom. If you're a fan,
got on my soapbox.
If you're listening, that's the soapbox. We'll come back here. We'll wrap up the show on The Zone.
Music, history, and some occasional sports. Chip Howard. Weekdays 4 to 6 on the Zone 1150 AM. Number 1 and 93.7 FM.
The Louis Bellina Show, Friday edition with Tony Catalina and Caleb Rapoli, the one and all, does it all producer. We're wrapping up a show here. He just got off his soapbox here, and I think some of the text messages kind of fed off of that a little bit, Caleb. Yeah. We have a couple of against Texas text messages you want to read, so go ahead and let those fire off.
Yeah, I want to start with Zach from College Station says, Cam Coleman is a complete liability. No show for Auburn in their biggest games. I think he's a perfect fit for TU.
You better hope. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the break, that if Cam Coleman now that he has a quarterback, it might be a little scary.
Well, I was telling you, and we can say it again, I'd take it further. Des Ricks ate his lunch in that game, in that Auburn game. Des Ricks was absolutely all over Cam Coleman. But with that being said, I think Cam Coleman, as a competitor, understands and knows that. So I think Des Ricks is going to have to buckle his chin strap a little tight. I think if I was the competitor in the talent that Cam Coleman was, I'd be circling that game for a lot more reasons than just a rivalry.
Sure. And then, according to Lance, he says that it was originally Texas didn't want to play us in the non-conference in any sport. And then later, once they were, starting to not want to be in the Big 12 anymore, they tried to play us, and we didn't see any need to help them out, according to him. And I think that sounds right. So I think that is what happened. But it was both sides, being petty. And that's, again, rivalries. It's kind of how it works.
Well, listen, with Lance saying that, I'm going to take his word for it, right? Like, we're talking about it. I'm going to just let that be the case for now while we're talking. But it is funny that we're here in a Brian College station, radio station. The guy's like, well, it was Texas's fault, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, of course he's going to. Yeah, sure.
So I love that.
That sounds right, but I don't remember exactly, so I'm not going to say that's fact.
Yeah, and so for me, it's super funny that, I didn't want to get on this. You told me, too, in the break that, like, once I started talking about the Austin, like, stadium, that it would be a Pandora's box.
Yeah, I mean, you start complaining about DKR, I think you're not unbiased anymore, man.
But the problem is, when I was complaining, was like I was excited. Like, I went in there, I'm like, I see the big Longhorn there. I see like the field. I mean, you just feel the energy. I mean, I'm somebody who lets myself feel the emotion of these sporting events because I don't take this job for granted. So when I walk in there, I'm like, this is gonna be lit. So for me, this is going to be crazy. But yeah, I digress. So listen, I'm still unbiased, but I went in there thinking it was going to be something better. But
as much as you can be.
We're wrapping up here in the last minute or so, and I told you we're going to have a giveaway for the ticket booth, and it's open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. Caller number 5 wins a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. Caleb will get you set up. Let those ring up. Let them go. And as we have this final minute, and let those callers kind of ring off for us, any final thoughts, Caleb, before we end this Friday and start the weekend?
We are officially in football preseason mode, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, and to that point, I'll even take it a step further. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we're no longer in the preseason. It's on and popping now, right? Like, this is, and I told you, this is the final week. This week right here, tell your family you love them. Tell them you enjoy spending time with them. If your wife wants to go to the beach or go anywhere, go to the brewery or something, take her and go. Because, and listen, maybe I'm just talking to myself, but because after this week, there's going to be press conferences in the first week of August. There's going to be practices. There's going to be film. There's going to be things to digest. There's going to be football to talk about. And even though the games aren't here until September, there is going to be in full swing football mode. This is it. Enjoy it. See your family. Be around your friends because it's time to lock in. It's fall. It's fall. And with that being said, like, I had a good summer. I hate to say that right now on July 24th. I'm talking about summer as like a past tense because it's still summer for everybody who's normal. But but this is a profession where it's not normal, and I'm very grateful for it. And with that being said, it's another episode of Tony Catalina on the Louie Bellina Show. Episode number 3. We got one more to go next Friday. I'll catch you next week here on The Zone.